And hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm joined by special guest Milan Ristić. Milan, thanks for joining me. If you would, just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you came from, what you've been doing, and kind of your situation now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. My name is Milan. I come from Belgrade, Serbia, born and raised. Came here in 2010 on a track scholarship to run track in college. Since then, I ran professionally, and here we are trying to be a coach right now.
When you say ran, what did you run?
I ran hurdles, 110-meter hurdles. A funny fact, I came here as a sprinter though, because I had some hamstring issues and stopped running hurdles. And then one day, just out of the blue, I asked my coach, "Hey, can I run some hurdles?" He said, "Your hamstring's hurting. Can you do it?" I said, "Let me try it." So I ran pretty decently, and since then, I never did anything else.
And how old were you when you started hurdles?
When I ran hurdles the first time, I was probably 12 years, 13 years old, maybe. I started running track in fourth grade. But yeah, I trained as really all around athlete. We did a whole bunch of jumping, a whole bunch of sprinting. I even ran some cross country meets. Don't ask me why. Um, but yeah, I specialized more when I came to college. Up until then, was really open. Long jump, 200, 100, relays, all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. What did it take? I mean, why did you love doing this so much in order that you're willing to go and really work hard to be successful as somebody who represents your country and is able to go to the Olympics? What was that drive within you to make you do that?
Well, I always wanted to go to the Olympic Games. That was always a dream of mine, and I knew I could do it if I put the work in. And so I came to college as a 1452 hurdler for 110, and that was not even close to making the team. I had to run a second faster. So every year I had something to work toward, and the first year in college, I believe I ran 1428. Then the next year I ran 1388, then 1378, then 1359, 1350, which was super close to qualifying. It was 1347 was the Olympic standard. And because we don't have many hurdlers in Serbia, I could qualify with just running the standard. So the next year, I believe I ran 1339, and that qualified me, and that was 2016. So it was always something to work toward to look forward to. And once I ran it, I remember that year, I just felt so good. And I just feel like this weight has been lifted off my shoulders, just amazing feeling. And since then, I've been running just fine. Yeah.
So do you feel you felt a lot of pressure to achieve that target and kind of make it to the Olympics? How did you deal with that?
Well, not so much pressure. It's just I wanted it so bad. I don't even know how to explain. I just wanted it so bad. And, everything I ever wanted, if I work hard enough for it, I got it, with the support I have. So I knew I can do it. It's just I had to do certain things to come to it. I remember that year we went to, I think, 6, 7 races prior to running the Olympic standard in May. And I had some issues with my adductor. So that's what was holding me back. And I ran that indoor season as well, which was horrible. I started training in December for the Olympic Games in August. So I didn't have much time to get ready at all. But all the training prior to that, I feel like, helped me pick up where I left off. When I stopped training, I had some issues, couldn't come back to the States. I was stuck in Europe for a little while. So dealing with that as well, the day before, the year before Olympic Games was hard, And so, yeah, we ran 6 or 7 races. I opened up the season 1357, 1/10 of a second to qualify for the Olympic Games. That was March 15th. I remember it was Georgia Tech relays. And or whatever the competition is, Yellow Jacket Invitational. But we came here, I ran 13:57, pouring rain, really cold, and I knew that I can do well. I was ready already to run, and so ran 13:57. After that, I ran all in the 50s, all in the 60s, 13:60, 13:50. Never just, right there. It's there, but it's not there.
Mm.
And I remember we went to Auburn one day, and I had the track meet there. It was just so windy, and they wouldn't turn the hurdles the other way. So I ran and ran 13:66 with a negative 2.2 wind, which I knew I was ready by then. And so we went back to school where I trained in Asheville, North Carolina, trained for 3 weeks. I went to Claremont in Florida, had a meet there at National Training Center, and I ran 13:51 in the prelims, and the finals was stacked. I had the European indoor champion in 60 hurdles, world runner-up, I believe, in the 110s the 2 years prior to that, or a year prior to that. So I knew if I beat these guys to hurdle one, I'm winning this competition, and I'll run the standard. So in the finals, I remember I just went at it. And I remember coming off the last hurdle and just trying to get to that finish line as fast as I could. In the video, if you watch it, you can hear me screaming, running through the finish line. So I knew that I had it. Then I asked the guy at the timing table, I said, "Hey, what time did I run?" He said 13:39. I was like, "What?" He said 13:39. And then I was really excited for a second. Then I asked him what the wind was, and it was wind legal. So it kind of all came together at that time.
And I think we should, for people not familiar with track and field,
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a quote unquote legal wind for your time to be considered as authentic, right?
Yes. So you have to have, you can run the wind aided up to 2.0 meters per second. That's called a tailwind, or you can have the headwind. It doesn't really matter. It just, you can have 10 meters per second headwind. It just slows you down really. What matters is the tailwind, which is up to 2.0 meters per second allowed.
Well, we should mention, if you're watching, if you have any questions from Elon, just post them in your chat box, and we'll get them to him as we go along. I want to talk about being an Olympian. I remember as a kid growing up, always wanting to be an Olympian and be in the Olympics. And obviously, I've not achieved that, but you have. And so I want to ask you. I'm not jealous, by the way, not at all. What was that experience like, being able to compete in the Olympics?
It was, now trying to remember how it all went down, is just this huge tunnel with a bunch of lights around. I remember when we got there, it was 5 o'clock in the morning in Rio. We traveled the day before, all day, all night. And it was just really a dream come true. I remember coming to the Olympic Village. They gave you, you get these credentials, and you go in, and you walk around and you see all these people from different countries, different uniforms, different jackets, different shirts. It's a really special feeling. And just the competition wise, I remember coming out to the stadium, and it was just extremely packed. Even though it was raining nonstop for a few hours, there was not a single spot on the stands that somebody could sit. So, me being a performer, running in front of 10 people or 10,000 people, I will run the same way. I never had any issues really being scared or having any anxiety competing. It was just, all right, I'm here. I got to do what I got to do. What I'm doing. This is what I do, and I'm doing it now. So it was a really, really great experience doing it. Loved it.
It would be nice to say that an athlete's career is perfect, right? You continually to get better every year. You keep on improving, you stay injury free, you stay healthy. That's not the reality of being an athlete. Can you talk a little bit about some of the challenges you've had in respect to this?
Yes. So one of the biggest challenges really I had competing professionally was therapy. If you want to perform your best, you have to be pain-free, I would say. And so that being said, I had literally no therapy in 2015 or 2016 at all. We had to invest in all kinds of things to keep me healthy, like those inflated boots, ultrasound machine, ice pad, whatever you name it, have it all. It's still here. I still have it. It's just, if you want to do something and be the best at it, you have to invest in yourself, obviously. You can't just wing it. If it was that easy, everybody would be an Olympian. Everybody would compete in whatever they desire. It's really not that easy. And it's not just one person. It's not just me, it's my wife, it's my coach, it's my family, it's my agent, it's my federation. It's
good point.
This is not just me. I didn't do this by myself. That's the thing, and you have all these people, you talk to them every day, you're stressed. Oh, what is my agent gonna say? What is my wife gonna say? What's my coach gonna say? You think about all these things, but you're kind of center of attention. They don't see all that stuff. All that stuff is, and I would like for it to be more visible, for the people to know it's not just one person. Yes, you see one person running at the track, but that success is not just one guy or one girl.
It's a team.
It's a whole team, and without all those people, I don't know if I could have made it, to be honest with you. It just, everybody says, you got to tap you on the shoulder. They mean it or don't mean it. I have my group of people that I trust, and this is the group of people I train with, work with every day, talk to every day. So me going to do my training, I made sure I did everything right, eat right, sleep right, recover myself as much as I could on my own, to not disappoint these people, because it's super disrespectful to do something while other people are investing in you, their time, money, whatever it is. So I figured
that's a good point. I want to just reemphasize that if you're an athlete and you're not giving your best when everybody around you is giving their best for you, it is, as you said, it's disrespectful to them, because they're really investing their time and effort into you. You have a responsibility to kind of give that back. Would you agree?
Yep. Yes, definitely. Well, just imagine this. I was working at the school at that time as well. And so I would wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning to go lift at 6. So do you think it was nice of me to wake up my wife every morning at 5 o'clock, cook breakfast, be loud in the house, get ready, even though I would have stuff prepared prior to that, night before that, she would want to hang out, watch a movie, and I go to sleep at 9, 10 o'clock, you think my coach wanted to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning? Probably not. But all these people, it's just, thank you all if you guys are watching. So can't do it alone, to be honest with you. And that's my opinion. I don't know if somebody can make it alone. I don't know a single person who did it, who's doing it right now. I don't think it's possible. So don't try to be this guru know-it-all. Get a coach, get a team behind you. It's impossible to do it by yourself. So, yeah.
So you started to talk a little bit about your day. So tell us what a typical day for you is when you consider training, but now you're not just training, you're also a volunteer coach. And so talk a little bit about how you manage all that, because that's a responsibility that's challenging too.
Right. So let's take one day, for example. When I got the training schedule here from the university, I have the whole week planned, telling me, okay, we're doing this on Monday, we're going to be this busy on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, etc. So on Mondays, I figure out that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday will be our considered low days, to say, for the team here. So I will do my hard days on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that being done is I would go and do my training in the morning. I figure I could run in the morning when I'm fresh. And so I can go into the day, knowing that I did my best on the track. And then I would go work for X amount of hours, depending on what we had to do that day. And then I would come home, eat dinner, maybe hang out for like 20, 30 minutes, an hour. And then I would go back to the weight room and do my lifting session then. So that was one day. The next day we would be packed with the team here. Lift at 6:15 in the morning, get another group at 8, and get another group at 11. Then we'll have about an hour free. for lunch, and then that's when I would try to do my low day training, hour and a half. It depends really what I had that day, how long it would take me, but that's about how long it is. And then I would go back, do our sessions outside. So another 3-4 groups coming in all day outside. It's hard, but if you have something to work toward to, is just you look forward to that final product. You don't try to pick all the steps. You look at the big picture. You can't focus on just one little thing. Is it hard? Yes, it is. How bad do you want it? Let me ask you that. How bad do you want it? That's what it is.
That's a great question. Periodization is something that's very important in sports, and a lot of people don't necessarily plan their schedule to peak at the right moment.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously plan around specific events in your athletic career: World Championships, Olympics, European Championships, etc. How do you do that? How do you periodize to make sure that you're your best when it really matters?
Right. So we would look at a schedule of those meets that are already out there. Like you said, Olympic Games, World Championships, European champs. We would look at those competitions and say, okay, this is X amount of weeks from our first week of training. So we're shooting to peak at that time. Everything else up to that point is one step closer to the main goal. So we would look backwards and look where the first competition is and say, okay, we need to run here. Let's just get the rust off, feel it, do whatever I need to do to get all these things out of my head, out of my body, just run a race, relax, and see where you're at. And then after that meet, we would go probably run better and better and better as the people call it being in shape. I don't like saying that, but as the shape would get better, I would run faster and then hopefully run the best at the main championships. But yes, everything is planned. Nothing is just training and competing. Like people might think that, but it's really not. There is a lot of science behind things and a lot of thought and a lot of time and effort put in to plan everything. It's not just, oh, let me look if there is a race this weekend. Okay, I think I can make it to Florida. It's deeper than that. It's not just training and competing. But yeah, everything has to be planned perfectly in order to work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I briefly touched on the fact that you're now coaching track and field. What is it like transitioning from being, an athlete in the morning to a coach in the afternoon? And there's also this kind of concept that, well, there's two thoughts here. Because you've been an elite level athlete, you can be an elite level coach. And then there's also the argument that that's not true for everybody. So how do you transfer your knowledge as an athlete, your competition, your training in the morning, into I'm going to be a quality coach in the afternoon?
Well, first of all, I want to say that even if you're the best athlete in the world, like you said, it doesn't mean that automatically that you're going to be a good coach. It's how much time and effort you put into learning. I can be the best athlete in the world if that's all I'm doing, and I'm not thinking about it. I'm not reading anything. I'm not educating myself. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not networking. You really have nobody to learn but yourself, from yourself and your little team that you have. So I worked with a lot of people and I've networked with a lot of people, I'm still in touch with a lot of people and just, touching base. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? I talk to my coach literally every day, emails, text messages. We talk sometimes about the videos, look at the videos together and say, hey, what do you think about this? Continually educating yourself is you have to do it. But how do I do it? It's when I'm not doing anything on the track for myself, let's say not training, I'm done. I'm not an athlete anymore. I put that behind me and I don't think about it at all. Because if that's all I was thinking about, I would have been burned by now. That's my feeling, what I would feel like. So when I step off the track, doing what I had to do, I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to think about it anymore. the next thing is my next task. And then when I come back home, I can reflect what I did that day and talk about it and think about it, but one task at a time. And then that works for me. I don't know if that works for everybody, but that works for me. Even when I'm competing, it's, I have a competition. Yeah, that's great, but that's not all I think about. I still do normal things, go buy groceries, go wash your car, whatever, cut your grass. It's, don't think about one thing. You have to see the bigger picture and have a life,
Yeah. It's easy to become too focused on your training and performance and forget the big picture. And
Right.
then when training and performance doesn't go as planned, your whole world has essentially fallen apart because that's everything to you.
Right.
Tell me a little bit then about the fact that, and by the way, if you have questions, be sure to put them in the chat box and we'll be sure to get them to Milan. But tell me a little bit about, what you've learned, not as both an athlete and as a coach. So if there's somebody who's, I want to get into track and field, I want to be a elite level athlete, or, I'm a coach, I want to be a better coach, I want to learn from people who are out there doing it. What kind of advice would you have for them? What things have you learned that work for you, both as an athlete and as a coach?
So the biggest thing is patience. First of all, I'm not a patient person at all. But over the years, you learn how to do things. And, if something doesn't work today, it doesn't mean it won't work tomorrow. You have to keep trying and get better at what you do, because that is what you do. Would you not want to be the best at what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
No. So you have to, if you're doing something and you really enjoy it and you love it, and you put all your time and your effort, and all the people around you, feel that, you want to get better. The whole thing is just, if you want to get better, you have to be patient and invest in it. Invest in yourself, your time, whatever that might be. If you want to be good at something, you have to give a little extra. If you want to be a mediocre at something, then anybody can do it.
So I go back to coaching and then say, how would you describe your coaching style?
I like to feel what athletes feel, because I can relate to that. And so it's just, I don't know if I can even be strict. Some coaches are all about yelling and doing this and that, and trying to be a cheerleader. That's not what coaches really are.
So what are coaches?
Those are the people who are literally 50% of you. So what you tell your athlete is how it's going to reflect on the performance. I always talk to my wife and my coach before my race, and I say, hey, we're here, let's do it. Sometimes I even ask some people, why am I here? Can you tell me, why do I deserve to be here? And so how they respond, that's just in your head a little bit, and that's how you go with your day. If somebody said, hey, you suck, you think you're going to run well? Probably not. But for some people that works. So my style is to always be positive, joke when I can, but when the time is to put the work in, we put the work in. It's not, oh, I can't do it. Yeah, you can do it. I did it. This person is doing it. This person is doing it. We can modify things, but if things need to be done, they have to be done. Nobody's going to put the work in for you. So my style, that's my style. Everything has its own time. So when we're working, we're working. When we're joking, we're joking. When we're doing whatever we're doing, it is what it is. But the ultimate goal is to get the work done and be positive and be happy, injury-free, of course, and mentally really feel good. Because if you are not feeling mentally well, it reflects on your performance, your relationship with everybody around you. Just not a good state to be in. So, yeah.
So if I look at Milan in 5-10 years time, what kind of are your plans? Where do you see yourself progressing from being an athlete? You're not going to be an athlete forever. Right. You're now a volunteer coach. Where do you want to end up?
That's the question my wife just asked me a couple of days ago. So I'll tell you the same thing I told her. I definitely want to stay in coaching. I find I started getting a little bit more into strength and conditioning part of the job, which I kind of enjoy. But to be honest with you, I hated lifting weights when I was when I'm training. I hate lifting weights. That's not one of my things. It's not that I don't hate it. I know what it does for you and what will do to your performances and everything else that comes with it. But I just didn't enjoy that as much as running. So um, I definitely want to stay in track and field as a coach. In 5 years, I see myself working. I would love to stay at a bigger school, obviously, because of everything that comes with it. But it's not that I don't say no to jobs at a smaller school, or some small schools are really good. So I can't. It really has to be a lot of things for me to decide. So definitely see myself coaching in 5 years. In 10 years, still coaching, but not being an athlete. Probably in 5 years, I'm done as well. So I just want to put my time and effort into job now and my family, because when I'm competing, I don't have time, to spend with my wife, to go on a vacation. I don't remember last time I went somewhere just to go somewhere, we have this yearly beach trips with my wife's side of the family, and they all go, but we stay, and now I want to put my time more into family and have the family, than just being busy all the time like I am with the training and doing all these things, because you really are, I don't even know, 90 hours a week, you're busy. So now that with all this virus and things going on, now I have time to, think about everything and put my time into something else as well. So I find here little things that I like I'm doing. And in 5 and 10 years, I just hope I'm coaching and I have a family and all happy and healthy.
Does Milan have fun then? I mean, what do you do to get away from track and field?
Since my cancer treatment, I figured that, I don't know. I don't even know if I told this to anybody, but having your life, it's not given, not every day is given. So I enjoy riding a motorcycle. I got into that a little more after my cancer treatment. And so I like to go ride and just, clear my mind, go sit, even if that's 5 minutes away, I just like to get on my bike, get there, sit a little bit, come back, have some fun. I like to play some games, but trying to stay away from that right now. Getting more into badminton at this time. So really enjoy doing that and playing volleyball. Walk our dog. We have a little creek by the house, so we go there every day, almost every day. I try to go every day. So yeah.
So last question I have, and if anyone else has any, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we'll wrap this up. There's sometimes when we talk about sports, we look on ESPN and we see these major sports, right? Baseball, football, basketball, and soccer, and these athletes are very visible, very successful, very well paid. Track and field and a lot of other sports maybe don't get so much media coverage unless it is the Olympics or something like that. Is track and field a lucrative profession as an athlete?
Yes and no. There is a lot of factors that come into that question.
Okay.
If you are, let's say, if you're a guy who's running 10-0 in 100 meters, and you can do that at any given time, so talking about being consistent, it's very lucrative. If you're a guy who runs 10-0 and then goes and runs 10-30, nobody's going to bring you because they don't know that you are a guaranteed performer. So if you're
talking about events paying you to come and race there.
Yes. So how that works is you have a certain timing in the world, you're ranked at a certain position in the world. It really, there are a lot of factors, like I said, but let's say you're number 25 guy in the world. You're on 10-0-5 in 100 meters. They look at the field that is competing in that competition and they say, okay, you are the best one coming in. We'll pay you X amount of dollars just to show up. And then if you finish your race, it depends. It's all written in different stages. So you can get the money if you run a certain time. You can get the money if you just show up. You can get the money if you, whatever. Really, if you finish, well, top 8, everybody finishes in top 8, obviously. But you get paid for a certain position, for a certain performance sometimes. Sometimes you get bonuses from your sponsors. Really, a lot of factors are in there. But if you're a sponsor-free athlete, you're just trying to get as many meets as possible and get all the money you can, because that's the only way of your income. So yes, it can be lucrative. Like I said, if you're a guaranteed performer and very consistent in what you do. If you're not very consistent, you don't have sponsors, they can see that your times are varying a lot, or you're jumping, or you're throwing, whatever that might be. They're looking for the guaranteed performers. And when you go to a track meet, you don't want to see somebody run 20 meters in front of somebody in the 100 meters. It's just not how it works. You want to see everybody cross the finish line at the same time, which is exciting, and that's what they're trying to do. There's always one big fish at a meet who gets paid who knows how much, $200,000 just to show up. But that's only that one person. What about all of the rest of us? I go to a meet, maybe $500. Oh, great. But you don't know how much time and effort you put in to come to that meet, and your agent and everybody. You don't really know until you get to that stage how hard it is to make it. Like I said, yes, it can be very, very lucrative. And I know some people who made a lot of money. It's unreal. And then I know some people that don't train anymore because they couldn't make it, because they are just not getting any. Yes, it's great to go to a track meet and win $2,000. You may have how many races? 6, 7 races. If you're a decent performer, if you're a guy who can run all the time, you might have 10, 15 races. Let's say you get $2,000 at each race. It's not going to add up. You still have to pay some stuff. You got to pay for your shoes. You got to pay for your clothes. You got to pay for food, for rent, for whatever that might be. It's not going to cut it. So it's brutal as that.
Well, for somebody like you in the 110 hurdles, where do you kind of have to finish before it starts to be, oh, I'm making money from coming to this event? Is there a kind of well, if you finish in the top 3, or does it just depend on the event?
It really depends on the event. It would be great if you finish the top 3. That means you're getting paid more to come to that meet. So medals definitely count. If you're a performer that has a medal, obviously you're going to get paid more right off the bat. But you have to be competitive. Put it that way, competitive with the big dogs. So if you're right there, you're not beating him, but you're super close, you will have track meets to go to. If you're running consistently some certain time, you will go to the track meets. It's just that depending how much are they willing to pay you. It's not, that's negotiated by your agent. It's not a set price. If your agent tells you, hey, I have this meet, let's take, for example, whatever, Georgia Relays. They're not paying, but I'm just saying, for example, you go to this professional meet and they say, okay, you can have $5,000 to show up at this meet. And if you finish the top 3, only top 3 get paid. Let's say that. If you finish top 3, you get this many dollars. If you don't run for some reason, if you get injured there, you don't get paid at all. So you just go there and come back. That's how brutal it is. And do you think out of 8 guys, how many of them do you think you want to get paid? Everybody.
Yeah.
So very competitive. There's no room for error at that stage. Everybody's looking. So other meet directors are also watching those meets. If they see you screw up 1 time, 2 times, you're probably done. They're not going to invite you to their meet. So you have to perform the best at all times when you go to these big meets. I think that is very important in order to stay competitive and stay in that circuit, competitive circuit.
If anybody has further questions or want to get in touch with you, follow your kind of career as an athlete coach, what's the best way to do that?
They can follow me at any social media. My social media is my first and last name, 110. That's all my usernames. They can find me there. That's right. So that's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's Twitter. Just shoot a message and I'll send you my email or phone number if you want to talk about anything. It would be good to hear from somebody what their struggles are or their advices. You know, I'm always open to suggestions, and that's how you learn. You know.
Well, Milan, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you with your honesty and sharing your experiences, and of course, I wish you the best of luck as you continue your dual career.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for watching.